Hi, and welcome to this edition of INFocus on Whitewater Community Television's WGTV Channel 11. I'm Eric Marsh. Thank you very much for spending part of your time with me. Since this is the first new INFocus of the year, Happy New Year, even though we're, wow, almost to the middle of the month almost. Doesn't seem like that's possible. Welcome. Thank you very much for spending part of your time with us. Hope you had yourself a really great holiday season. We are having a conversation that does not focus on COVID, but it's going to start off with what COVID continues to affect. We have had a lot of transmission in our community, really, for the last 6-8 weeks. Things have been going up. It has begun to affect things into the new year. Our guest today, our partner, Wayne County Area Chamber of Commerce. Always happy to have Melissa Vance, President and CEO of the Chamber. Melissa, good to see you. Thanks for spending some time. Appreciate it.
It's always a pleasure. We love working with WCTV and your viewers. It's always a pleasure to be able to spend a little time together.
Thank you. You all had your annual dinner in August.
We did.
Since January was not going to work of 2021, you all announced then it was going to go back to its regular time of the third Friday in January. You all were geared up. You had a great theme. Okay. Here we go again.
Yes, we did. And, we were 100% on track to go and very hopeful that we could have a great crowd like we did in August. August was wonderful. We did registration outside, which helped, and we did staggered entry so people weren't all entering at the same time. Mm-hmm. And we intended to do some of those things. Obviously, it's cold. We're not registering outside, but having some protocols in place yet again in January. However, with this new variant creeping up, our board made a difficult decision last week to go ahead and postpone our event to April Fool's Day. So, we're going to have a whole lot of fun with that. April 1st is going to be our day, and we are saying prayers that can happen. But we did decide to postpone.
Talk a little bit about what, as far as what you can, what people will be able to see, do. I mean, obviously you all announced the theme, which sounded like a lot of fun. And those things are going to stay in place. Have you been able to move everything you need to move so that that as long as things go well, as long as we can get the level of infection down, that April 1st is going to be the date and that the party is going to happen?
Yes, we have been able to confirm everyone and everything that we needed to confirm, which is so exciting. Our theme is Waynopoly. So it's a take on a fun game, Monopoly, that we all grew up playing. And Lynette and our ACES committee have done a fabulous job of bringing together various fun elements to that. They did a fun little video invitation that went out that's on our website. You could take a look at it if you want to, but it's going to be great. Okay. Obviously, we always have fantastic award recipients that we will be recognizing, and it's such a special night and a special time for us to just celebrate what's good about Wayne County, what's happening around here.
As the leader of the chamber, the business community, this has got to be frustrating in a lot of different ways. It affects the economy. It affects what people are able to make. It makes rescheduling hard. The Wayne County Fairgrounds continue to try to book, so I imagine that rescheduling dates, even as early in the year as you all did this, were difficult. Talk about what you were hearing from some of the businesses that were involved in this, as far as what this start and stop that we continue doing, how that has affected them, and how that has continued to affect what you all are trying to do.
Sure. It's, from the event itself, we know that businesses are being very careful about what they're encouraging their employees to participate in and do, just because they need to be very careful with who's being exposed and the staffing issues that we hear about over and over again, whether it's because we've added jobs over this last year, which many of our businesses have, our larger businesses have seen growth in this past year. It's been great. And then our workforce has shrunk due to various reasons. In large part, we have a large baby boomer population, and people have decided to go ahead and retire that were at retirement age or take an early retirement. So there's those things that we already knew were going to happen, kind of happened anyway.
Right.
So with the staffing shortages and this increase in Omicron variant and COVID, there's just that elevated concern about what we're doing and being very cautious. Everybody's ready to get back and do normal things again and try and put this behind us, and yet it's still lingering. And so trying to make good decisions on a day-by-day basis, not being ruled by fear, but being smart. And I think that's really where our businesses are.
You all continue to you can't stop. So you all are continuing to try to build out your year, make sure that you all are educating businesses where you can and where they might need some help. Legislative series is something that you all have tried to do. Your first one for this year has been postponed, but talk about some of the topics that you all are trying to do with that series.
Sure. So last year we did a quarterly state of series, and we really thought, just taking a look back, we really thought it was important coming out of 2020 for everyone to have an opportunity to hear what's the state of, you name it, what is the state of growth in Wayne County? What's the state of our community and those things? This year, we really wanted to have a focus on our legislative connections and make sure that our businesses continue to have the ear of those that are making decisions, whether it's local decisions at the Indiana State House, decisions in Washington, et cetera. And so with that, we pulled together and we're still honing in on a couple dates. So I don't have dates for you today,
Right.
But we did postpone our first one due to COVID related issues, not really on our end on this one, but on those that were traveling here for the presentations. We will be bringing in a representative from the U.S. Chamber and from the Indiana Chamber, talking about legislative priorities that they are working on. Our local chamber is not a lobbying chamber. We have connections with our legislators. We do advocacy, but we are not lobbyists. Different than the Indiana or other states chambers and the U.S. Chamber. They do lobby at their various levels. So we try and stay connected with them and make sure that they're hearing the voice of our local businesses when they're making decisions on what those priorities are, and then reporting back on the priorities that they're focusing. So that will be one. Another one will be bringing in, hopefully, all three of our national legislators, but minimally two of our national legislators between Pence, Young, and Braun, and talking about what they've been doing and having a Q&A with them, and then opening it up to our attendees. We had the governor last year. It was a great meeting. Having Governor Holcomb with us this year, our hope is to bring the lieutenant governor at one of these. And then we will have Brad Barrett and Jeff Rotz at one, probably in the summer months.
Outside of election season.
Yes, yes. When they have finished up their session, they will come back and have a conversation about how things went, and then what's coming up next.
Let's talk about the chamber, the local chamber. You mentioned the fact that you're not lobbying, but talk about some of the things that you are doing. I know that you've got a number of committees. Issues and advocacy is one that I have a chance to sit in on. Your buy local committee is one that I think, particularly now in this environment and this economy, the idea of pushing buy local continues to be incredibly important, and I think that's something that you all have talked about a great deal over the years. Talk about any initiatives that your buy local committee is pushing as we head into 2022 that people should be aware of.
Sure. Well, I think, one of the things that Buy Local really supports heavily is our Chamber Gift Certificate program. And we sell around $35,000 a year in Chamber Gift Certificates. And I don't think people really grasp that until we say that number. It's huge. Those are sold to individuals. They're sold to businesses that are buying incentives or gifts for their employees. And then they can be spent at locally owned businesses here in Wayne County. So it's keeping those dollars local. And we know that our local business owners that do well, they in turn spend their money locally. So it's this cycle of supporting our neighbors, so to speak. That will continue. They will continue working on that.
Are you still accepting businesses into that program? I'm just curious, and obviously I've seen that list. The staff at WCTV got chamber gift certificates for Christmas, but does that list continue to grow? Do you continue to talk to area businesses about being part of that chamber gift certificate program?
It does, yes. That's actually one of their goals, is to grow that this year. In order to be on the list, you have to be Buy Local certified by our chamber, which means you meet a certain number of criteria. You have your own brick and mortar locally. You hire local people. You source some of your supplies or your vendors locally. So we want to make sure that we're investing in those that invest back. And so once they meet some of those criteria, they're Buy Local certified and they can be on that list. And yes, that list is growing, and it is one of their goals to continue growing it into the coming year.
Cool.
They also have a Love Local campaign that's going to kick off again in February. They did that last year for the first time, and it was a lot of fun. Just something new and a special way to love on our local businesses, so to speak. They'll be promoting just getting out and supporting locally. When you take your special someone out to dinner, take them out to a local business for dinner, buy their gifts locally. And on that note, our local businesses have some really unique gifts, something you're not going to find on Amazon. So if you want something special, look around locally. You'll find something great.
Okay. You mentioned to me off air about an idea that's coming up where groups of people will be going into some businesses, kind of a flash mob type of thing. Is that still something that's in the works, or is that something that's definitely going to be happening?
It's definitely going to be happening. The details are developing.
Okay.
So you're the first to hear about this, Eric.
Thank you.
But yes, we will have several of our committees, our member outreach committee, our events committee, our Buy Local committee. They'll all be working together, and HYPE, our young professionals, all be working together on this. And on a special day, at special times, They will just randomly show up at a business and either eat or shop or something just to give a boost to the local businesses. And um, you'll see it on social media. It will be a lot of fun. And if people want to join us on that effort, they can just give our office a call or email us and we'll get you on the list to participate, because I think it's going to be a really neat way to support local.
You're watching In Focus on Whitewater Community Television's WGTV Channel 11. We're having a chance to spend some time with Melissa Vance from the Wayne County Area Chamber of Commerce. One of the things that I know your Issues and Advocacy Committee has been talking about is diversity and inclusion. You mentioned that there would be a series of conversations coming up. Can you provide us a little bit of information about what you have in mind there?
Absolutely. Well, as you know, we've had a lot of conversations about diversity in the past 2 years. I mean, after the death of George Floyd, this became a heightened issue nationwide, and we immediately, not because we saw an urgent need locally, but we still see a need locally. We wanted to get out in front of this and start figuring out how we can be intentional about diversity and inclusion in Wayne County and how our businesses can be more intentional. And so we did a pilot program where we had a small group of people that did implicit bias training with Dr. Menji Parker from Indiana University East. Mm-hmm. And it was very well received. We brought in a speaker from Belden out of their Portland, Oregon location at our business summit to talk about how businesses can build diversity programs from the ground up. And that was extremely well received. So we decided for this year, we wanted to put together a 3-part series that would bring some of those topics back for a larger audience. So anybody can attend these. There is a member price and a non-member price, but anybody can attend these, and they will take place in March, April, and May. In March, we have Daryl Gordon joining us from Warrenley Youth and Family Treatment Center here, and he will be speaking. If you haven't heard Daryl speak, he's very dynamic. So he's a very charismatic individual that travels and speaks nationwide. He's going to speak to us here. That will kick off the series. And then in April, Dr. Menji Parker will be doing that implicit bias training that I mentioned. It's a great program. He really dives into the thought process and implicit bias. It's just that. We all have biases. Implicit biases mean it's unintentional. We don't think about it. It just happens. And so it helps us really learn more about how our brains work. Mm-hmm. And how we have to be intentional with some things. And then in May, we will be bringing back Mark Charles from Belden, from Portland, Oregon, to talk again to this larger group. And I think it's going to be exciting.
I was not able to attend your business summit, but I have heard good response to her presentation at your business summit. I assume you have heard the same things.
Yes, we have, absolutely. We asked each one of our attendees to do surveys on all of our presenters, and she had just outstanding reviews. Great feedback. People felt like they had tools that they could walk away and go back to their businesses and actually start thinking about things that they could implement right away. So that's really what we want. It's not us telling businesses how to do things per se, but presenting information that will help them make strong decisions and hopefully have some nuggets that they could start implementing in their prospective roles.
We're talking with Melissa Vance from Wayne County Area Chamber of Commerce. Melissa, I want to give you a couple of minutes, and I know we didn't talk about this ahead of time, but particularly over the last few years, I mean, the Chamber has really gotten involved in some big things. You brought Disney into town, you had your business summit, your annual dinner continues to bring 500-600 people in, and you all do it with a very small staff and some interns. Talk about your staff, the positions that they hold, what they do. I want to give you a chance to brag on that group, because I think they've been doing some really good work for you and for the community.
They absolutely have. I am telling you, I don't know how we could build a better team than the team we have right here. Roxy Deer is the most senior of our team besides myself, and she's the director of membership and education. And she's also the staff lead for HYPE, which is our young professional group, as you know. She really works with our school systems, both K-12 and higher ed, and businesses, and does a lot of workforce development. She does our School is Cool program and our senior celebration. She does our job fairs and our hiring fairs and some other initiatives education-wise. She does our monthly education series. And then last year, HYPE kind of took over the flavor of Wayne County and had that. We're bringing that back this year. Our events committee is going to partner with them this year in doing that. So, so there's a little more manpower behind it, because it was very labor intensive. We'll put it that way. But yeah, they do a great job. And then Lynette Davis is our director of events, and she came in with this energy and passion, and the ability to actually take a big idea and implement it, which not everybody has. And she does it so well, just does it with grace and loves every minute. She does those big events, the golf tournaments, the annual dinner, our ribbon cuttings, which we've had a multitude of in the last 2 years, which is just head scratching and exciting all in the same time. And then Daniel Arthur is our communications coordinator, and he works with our buy local committee, works with our Main Street organizations. He does our website, our e-newsletters, and all of the things that people see coming their way on a regular basis. That's all Daniel. But I'd be remiss to say that if I miss this point, I would really be missing something. And that is that we have amazing volunteers that help us do all of this stuff. Serving on committees like Issues and Advocacy, like you do, Eric, serving on our events committees, serving on our board of directors. We have an outstanding board of directors. And so our staff does a lot, but our volunteers do a lot as well.
You mentioned your board of directors. Normally at your annual dinner, it's kind of a changing of the guard to a certain extent. Is that changing of the guard happening anyway? Are you bringing in new board members even though the dinner got pushed back? And what new board members are joining the organization?
Yes, we definitely are. All of those changes take place in January 1st of every year. So Brian Ballinger from Wisenhunt Construction has been on our board for a while. He stepped into our chair role for this year, and had to lead us through the hard decision last week of postponing the annual dinner. So I said, Brian, I'm so sorry that you're having to jump into this your first week, but here we are. But as far as new board members go, we have Alex Painter from Wayne County Foundation. He is the HYPE appointee to our board. So we're really excited to have him joining us. And then Alfredo Diamond from Better Homes and Gardens is joining our board. Denise Smith, who is the Dean of Business at IU East, has joined our board, and Marty Vanderbert from Belden is also joining our board. And then a few months ago, stepping into an open seat that was vacated by George Philhauer, we had Dr. Matthew Hicks from Northeastern School System joining us and representing our high schools. So, but we have a board of 29.
It's a big board.
It's a big board, but it's really great leaders that are passionate about growing our community, growing our economy. It's good.
You've mentioned hype a couple of times during our conversation here. They were brought back in under the chamber. I don't remember whether it was last year or year before, I'm sorry. And their leadership has started to change over. Can you talk about that for us a little bit?
Yes. So they came under the chamber umbrella in January of 2020 with a whole lot of big plans. And then, as you know, we all shut down March of 2020. So a lot of those things got put on hold. But last year, they were able to do some really cool things by launching the WC Leads program, which is the leadership cohort. And we planned and are still planning to recognize our graduates of that program at the annual dinner this year for the first time. So that's exciting.
Nice.
And then, as I mentioned, Alex Painter is their appointee this year to our board. We have a seat on our board specifically that they get to choose who sits in that role. Mm-hmm. And then chairing that committee will be Tracy McCullum, who works for Radford's Meat Market, but she is a dynamic young professional and has a lot of energy. We're really excited about her leading that group.
You're watching INFocus on Whitewater Community Television's WGTV Channel 11. We appreciate you spending some time with us, whether you're actually watching live on a Thursday evening or one of our 6 other replays that we have through the weekend. Maybe you're just listening to the audio on a Sunday morning on G1013 or their sister station, ESPN Radio 1490 WKBV. Or maybe you're watching on our video on demand site. However you are seeing or hearing this, we appreciate you spending some time with us. My name is Eric Marsh. We are spending some time with Melissa Vance from the Wayne County Area Chamber of Commerce. Melissa, talk about couch shopping and how much, I love the smile, how much fun it has been and whether that is something that 2022 will see the chamber do again.
I do believe that will come back. For those of you that don't know, couch shopping initially launched in 2020 in the holiday season, in large part because people weren't feeling comfortable getting out and shopping. So we did a Facebook Live and we brought in several of our small businesses that had not in the past used social media to reach their audiences. And so we just did a Facebook Live and we rotated businesses through and helped them sell their wares for Christmas. And it was so much fun. People wanted it back. So we did it again this past December. And, I think we sold over $3,000 or $4,000 worth of items that night. People had great deals going on, but it was a fun way to, again, reach an audience that many of them had not had in the past, but I think it develops new customers for some of these businesses. And yes, it is a lot of fun. And no, we did not sell a couch, just saying. You just shop from your couch. There was a little confusion in the beginning about us selling couches, and we were not selling couches. If you need a couch, go to Richmond Furniture Gallery, they'll have you set. But it was a lot of fun.
Cool. You talked about your series last year, The State of. Give us, from where you sit with the chamber, the state of business. I think that was part of your conversation. It it continues to change, it continues to evolve. Businesses continue to try to work through things. Talk about, as you see it, where we are locally with our business community. Things are happening downtown. Business buildings are coming down. Open areas are showing up. Things that maybe turn people off in the way things looked are getting cleaned up. Depot District continues to thrive. There'll be the Loop Part 2 going through there. We've got more walking, there's grants coming in. Talk about what you're seeing from your seat from a local business standpoint.
Sure. I think, overall, our businesses have fared well over the last 2 years, in spite of COVID. But it depends on the sector, what their needs are and kind of where we stand. As you mentioned, our small business areas, downtown Richmond, Depot District, they continue to need people to support them. That's not changed. So I hope that people continue to go down and shop locally and really invest there, especially during construction. It takes people being intentional about supporting them. And when the construction's done, we want to make sure that our businesses are still standing strong. So I would encourage people that are watching to really take that to heart. If you have to walk an extra block, so what? It's still not as far as you would walk if you went to a large shopping center or a big box store. So what? It's an extra block. Support our local businesses. When it's all said and done, I think those areas are going to be wonderful. And if we can grow our housing opportunities in those areas, whether it's upstairs housing or new builds or renovations like Richmond Restoration is doing,
Yeah.
I think that's going to help a lot in having an all the time audience that will support those businesses. When you look around the county, our small businesses, you look over at Cambridge City, it's easy to use them as a great example because they have grown. Their small business community, it's a small place to go shop. So you're not dealing with large crowds. And if you're trying to avoid large crowds during COVID, it's a great place to go. They're open. They've got new things happening, new businesses popping up. So they're doing really well. And then you look at our large businesses, our manufacturers. Well, we've added jobs in manufacturing and in healthcare and some of our large industries here in the last 2 years because of demand. The demand for pet food is up, and we obviously are the mecca of pet food suppliers around here. And so we are seeing expansion. Hills is going to be expanding, as we all have heard. And Blue Buffalo is doing extremely well. So those are doing great. We need employees. We need people who want to work. And so we need to attract new employees to move here, and we need to make sure we're retaining the people we have.
Okay. I need to give you time to see if there's anything that I didn't ask you or didn't mention that you want the community to know as we head into the new year, about the chamber, what they're doing, your mission. I'm going to open the floor and just kind of let you go.
Sure. I think sometimes, Eric, people, they just don't fully get what the chamber is and what we do. And just for clarification, we're member driven. We're not funded at all through government or other entities. We're funded through our members. We have about 550 businesses that are members of our chamber, and the whole goal is to support our community and to support our economy. We educate and do professional development and make sure that we're advocating for our businesses. Our main mission is to be a unifying link. And so if there's a need that one of our businesses has, we try and make sure we're making connections to the sources. And we do that through a lot of the things we talked about today and other ways, but that's just kind of an overall what the chamber does. And one more exciting thing that I'll just throw out there that will be coming this year, probably sooner than later, is that we're going to be launching an app. So we're excited about that. An app will come out, people can have it, they can learn about what we're doing, they can use it to register for events. If they're participating in a committee or want to be a part of an initiative, they'll have access to all the information through the app. So we're excited about that. It's just something new that'll be coming. So stay tuned for that.
All right. We will definitely do that. We will be looking for dates for your legislative sessions, dates for your diversity and inclusion series. Flavor of Wayne County is coming back. That going back on top of the parking garage?
It is, yes. And that's going to be May 20th.
Okay, there's a date.
There is a date for Flavor of Wayne County, May 20th. And we talked about my great team earlier. So they sent me real quick the dates for our diversity and inclusion series, which will be February 24th, March 24th, and April 28th. And those are all at 11:30 a.m.
Are those online? Are those in person?
Right now, our intent is that those are in person. Obviously, we will be monitoring COVID and be poised to adjust to virtual if we need to do so. But we really feel like with the content that we're presenting and the conversation will be easier face-to-face. The interaction will be easier face-to-face. So our hope is that we can do that. Okay.
And the last thing, since we're throwing out dates, I know one of the popular events that you all do also is your golf outing. Is there a 2022 golf outing date you want to share?
Absolutely. It is the first Friday in June, and I will tell you that really soon. That is going to be June 3rd, and our rain date is the 10th, the following Friday.
All right. There, we got some dates in too. Nice. Melissa Vance, President, CEO, Wayne County Area Chamber of Commerce. As always, appreciate you taking some time to kind of update us on what's going on. Looking forward to the annual dinner, which will be on April 1st at this point. And for keeping up with the Chamber puts out a newsletter bi-weekly, I believe.
We do a monthly newsletter that's all chamber. And then every week, Daniel sends out, here's what's happening in the community email. So if you want to get either one of those, just send an email to Daniel at wcareachamber.org.
There you go. And keep up with what's happening with the Wayne County Area Chamber of Commerce. Melissa, appreciate the time.
Thank you very much. Have a great week.
Thanks. You too. We'll be back with more in Focus in just a moment.
Don't you hold back, 'cause you got nothing to lose. This is your moment. Could take it all if you choose. And if you feel like giving up, got almost nothing inside. That's when you got to fight some more and end it all with pride. Got to rise. Oh,
Welcome back to In Focus on Whitewater Community Television's WGTV Channel 11. I'm Eric Marsh. Thank you very much for sticking around. Back around, if my musical memory is correct, about 1969 or so, Sly and the Family Stone did a song called Hot Fun in the Summertime. My next guest is going to talk about cold fun in the wintertime. The Richmond Meltdown Ice Festival is prepared to come back to us the end of this month. And once again, there'll be carvers, there'll be ice shavings all over the place, and hopefully a whole lot of fun. We've got Kathy Simkin with us. Kathy, thanks for taking some time and joining us. We appreciate it.
I'm happy to talk about one of my favorite things, the Meltdown. My other co-chair for this event is Kendra Beisner. So we've worked on this event, been in charge of it for 3 years now, and we've tried to grow the event every year and add something new and try to provide activities for people of all ages. And this won't be any different in that respect. This is the 9th year for the festival to come to Richmond, and it started with a vision from the Tourism Bureau. Mary Jo Clark, Bill Thistlethwaite, Don Rippiger, and others thought it would be fun to have some sort of outdoor gathering at the end of January when people are tired of staying home. Well, this is another year like that. People are tired of staying home. So, but the good thing is the carvers are so excited to come back to Richmond. They're like rock stars around here. We have 7 carvers, including 1 female, who will be coming to town to carve all week. Sculptures will be all through the downtown, on either side of the street, the Depot District, and down at Elstro Plaza. It'll be a drive-by and walkable route. So if families want to get out of their cars and mask up and practice social distancing, that will be a fun thing. There's so many photo opportunities provided. And last year, people came out. I went down there 6 or 7 times, just drove the same route because it was so enjoyable. And we look for this year to be a repeat of that. One new thing this year is we're featuring photograph art created and stored by Stephanie Harrison, who is a local photographer. Every year she takes off work the week of the Meltdown so that she can spend the time with the carvers, and she has some fabulous photographs. So hundreds of those will be displayed at Better Homes and Garden in the lobby there.
Yes, of the depot.
Yes, at the depot area. So you can go down and see her work. We haven't decided exactly how we're going to sell that, but I plan to buy something for myself because her work is so spectacular. There will be a drive-in movie provided by the Parks Department.
I was going to ask, that was one of the things that you all added, I think, last year for the first time, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yes. And last year it was in the Elder Beerman parking lot. And even in the middle of a snowstorm, people came out, had a great time. So we have 2 options for where to show that, and it'll depend on how strong the wind is that night. This will be on Friday night, and it will either be at the Elstro Plaza, sort of facing the library, or it will be back at Elder Beerman.
Okay. And we haven't said this yet, but the dates for the Meltdown this year are the 25th through the 29th. Early in the week, it's a great chance to, I think, see the carvers work as they get some of those sculptures ready. They are in Elstro Plaza. I assume that's where they will set up once again and work.
That is correct.
And particularly for folks, if you get to see them in the evening when they're working around that splash pad with the lights, it's really fun watching them work.
It really is. And we for sure will have opportunities for that on Friday evening. You can come down other evenings too, but as long as you mask up and keep a distance, then that'll be a great time to see what they do and what they've created. Fireworks will happen at
Okay.
an appointed time. We think that will take place on Saturday evening. So you can look forward to that. There will be musical concerts on Saturday afternoon at Reed Church. We are looking right now for a way to broadcast, live stream those to the plaza so people can see them on the big screen down there.
So taking as much outdoors as possible during this festival.
Exactly. Yes, we are, and we have a coloring contest, which people can download that on the Parks at richmondindiana.gov website, and then they can submit those for judging.
Is that like all ages? So some of us senior citizens can spend some time
Exact-
coloring?
Yes, and we'll see how that goes. One thing that the Tourism Bureau is introducing this year is the Meltdown Festival Fun Passport. Currently, there are 15 businesses involved in this project. You get your passport at visitrichmond.org. Once you get your passport, it has free things that can be picked up. I know one of them is a free cookie at one of the 4 bakeries downtown. I don't know exactly which one, but then discounts at other local businesses. So this seems like a really fun thing. There will be Amazon gift cards given away in connection with this. And there is a grand prize of $250 travel package here in Wayne County. So that sounded like a lot of fun.
It does.
And that's new this year.
You're watching In Focus on Whitewater Community Television's WGTV Channel 11. We're spending some time with Kathy Simkin from the Richmond Meltdown Festival Committee, and nothing like this, Kathy, and you mentioned that this is the 9th year of the event. Nothing like this happens without the support of the business community and sponsors, and I want to give you a couple of minutes to talk about some of the main sponsors that have really helped this year and helped keep this going through the years.
Well, Reed Health is one of the main sponsors, along with the city of Richmond. And in addition, Three Rivers is one of our main sponsors this year, and we're happy to have the involvement of all those. Individuals have contributed, their sponsors. We've been very fortunate to have so many area businesses contribute, because people do recognize that this is very unique and it's a temporary art form that we can get excited about.
I noticed that you all reached out on your Facebook page to ask people what ice sculptures they would like to see this year. You got 114 comments. Have you already shipped those off to the carvers so that they could take a look and think about what they might want to try to do?
Yes, and they are excited because one of the new features this year is a moose. We have a moose coming down from Fairbanks, Alaska. Last year, Melty the moose talked to our carvers when they were in competition in Fairbanks, and the carvers told them what a cool thing this is. So Melty is coming down, and you will see him. He's our new mascot. He's very quiet. He doesn't talk, but he's adorable. And we will be having some small Melties for sale down at the Elstro Plaza, in addition to other things like tie-dyed t-shirts and sweatshirts, headbands, pint glasses, things that are Meltdown famous around here.
Nice. Melty the Moose. Okay.
Melty the Moose.
We mentioned sponsors make this happen, but this is also people. An event like this that has sustained for almost a decade, grown each year, is really about some of the people who provide their volunteer time, who come out and help. They want to be around the carvers. They want to make sure things go smoothly. Are you still looking for volunteers, either for this year or as the thought process begins for next year? And are you all already thinking about next year?
We definitely are thinking about next year. Kendra and I will not be the co-chairs next year, but we'll be involved in some way. There are over 100 volunteers that are involved in this and committee work. We have a board that provides input. We've had 2 meetings a month for a while, all on Zoom, of course, but we started back in August with the meetings. So it takes a good deal of planning to get this underway.
Are you still looking for volunteers for this year? And if so, how do they contact you or someone on the committee?
Yeah, they could call me or send me an email. We do have need for some people to take some things around town, such as posters and, jobs like that we can do. That would be a huge help.
Okay. The conversation has been so much fun to this point. I almost hate to throw cold water on it. But we know from last year that there were things that were not able to happen because of COVID. We are having, obviously, a high amount of infection in the community right now. Can you talk for a couple of minutes about how or if that has affected your conversations up to this point? What have you had to change, or what are you thinking about changing? Can you just kind of give the community an update?
Sure. We've had meetings and received input from the Wayne County Health Department, the Wayne County Emergency Task Force, and also Reed Health. We have been advised or guided on what events would be too risky at this point based on what we know now. Mm-hmm. So, for example, the chili cook-off, that's not going to happen. School tours that we've had in the past, mm-hmm. that will be eliminated. The sponsors reception, which we were really looking forward to down at Star Jeanette, mm-hmm. that seems too risky as well. So we've had to take some of those off. Oh, the pub crawl and the after party, those are two obvious ones to eliminate as well. So those ones that I just mentioned will not happen this year. But on January 19th, we will make a decision about the throwdown, the onstage performance at Elstro.
Right.
So we'll look at the recent numbers, and out of respect for the community's health and our healthcare workers, we may have to put that one aside. If we do have it, mm-hmm. we will be having masks available.
Kind of red and blue fire and ice masks.
Yes, fire and ice. You're quick on the observation there. So we'll have these available free down at Elstro, and you'll see a number of people distributing those in the crowd.
Nice. Will the fireworks happen regardless of whether the throwdown happens?
Good point. They will. That in itself is such fun. So yes, we will have the fireworks, and that's deemed doable without attracting too many people too close together.
Okay. Kathy, we're down to our last couple of minutes of the show. I want to make sure that we've covered everything, or give you a couple of minutes to reiterate something that you think is really important for the community to know. So you've got the floor.
We're doing the best we can to have every moving part of this in place in a safe way. And we appreciate the enthusiasm that the community has shown the festival, and will show it again this year, I'm sure.
Okay. The Meltdown Festival scheduled to take place the 25th through the 29th. The artists, and they are artists with ice, will get into town and start working somewhere around the 25th. They will be carving in Elstro Plaza. They carve day and night, depending on the weather. If the sun's not shining, they're happier during the daytime, I found out from talking to them.
Yes.
So, but yeah, definitely get out, check it out. Kathy, obviously this has taken a lot of your time over the last 3 years. We appreciate the work of you and your co-chair over the past few years, really helping this festival grow and thinking about how to keep people safe and still have fun. Thank you very much for the time. Really do appreciate it.
Thank you, Eric.
Glad to do it. Glad you were able to be here. If you're looking for information on that, obviously the Meltdown has a Facebook page, or you can check out richmondmeltdown.com to go to their website, and you can keep up with information happening there. Kathy, thank you very much.
Thank you.
A couple of things we want to remind you of before we get out of here. The Winter's Farmers Market, which kind of took a couple of weeks off for the holiday, is back this weekend, and you can find them in the Star Jeanette Historic Site. That's every Saturday, November through April. Definitely check that out. RCT is the 21-22 season is continuing. Their next production actually is coming up. It will be Sylvia. That's happening January 21st through the 23rd, and then the 28th and 29th. GoRCT.org if you need some information on that. And Checkers Library TV. If you haven't had a chance to see that, if you've got a young one in the house, this is something we do on WCTV Channel 21 in conjunction with Morrison Reeves Library. Checkers Library TV, the reading road trip, full steam ahead, happens every Friday at 6 p.m. And also, want to remind you, if you are into basketball, IU East actually has a doubleheader this Saturday. The men will tip off at 1 o'clock. The women's game scheduled to tip off at 3 o'clock. Catch those games live on WETV Channel 20. Thank you very much for watching this week's In Focus on Whitewater Community Television's WGTV Channel 11. As always, I wish you well.